Alright man, getting started in Mechabellum can be an extremely uphill battle. It's one of the most satisfying games to learn that I have ever played, but that doesn't mean that it can't also be rough. So what is up there guys, this is Cobb, and welcome to a replay submitted by Mr. Cock6, playing as Blue here, as Quick Supply Specialist. This is a 1k MMR game, and we're going to be doing our best to offer some points of feedback, things that Cock6 could have done a little bit different. He did remark that he felt like he was building unit counters to what Red was doing, however, wasn't able to turn the tide of the game. We're going to be investigating this matchup and just seeing why that could be. So, Red is actually playing, well, one of the first things you want to do, actually, anytime you get into a game, of course, is scout out what your opponent is going, what kind of specialist they're running. In this case, it's supply specialist, so it's very, very vanilla. We're not really expecting any kind of special, rush strategy to come out or whatever, as if we were against something like a quick supply specialist. We do get to see that our opponent is starting off with Mustangs and Crawlers, and so right away, I do like the pickup of the Acolyte. I feel like this is great. Acolyte does a very, very good job at clearing off the Crawlers. Would clear off Fangs as well if our opponent goes into those two, which feels unlikely. But it does also deal with the Mustangs very, very well as well. I do notice that we picked up a second pack of Chaff 2 with the Crawlers, and we're just looking like we're going to be saving 200 supply from our starting pairs just now, which I think is fine. I think that's totally okay to do. I would like to have just seen double Acolyte come down, to be honest. Just get down the double Acolyte. Stormcallers will deal with any kind of heavier units that might come down, such as these sledgehammers that came down. Just double Acolyte, just count what our opponent has going on here, and just give us some good, reliable chaff clear, especially against Crawlers that Stormcallers do fine against once they stop moving, but yeah, they're not exactly the quickest at getting those Crawlers dead. In fact, the Acolyte on this side dealt with twice as many Crawlers pretty much over here as these Stormcallers, dealt with one pack around like the same amount of time, so yeah, the Acolytes are going to make a big, big old difference and would be a priority to get two of those down. But okay, man, that's first round pretty much over. The fact that we saw Sledgehammers come out immediately on the round one for our opponent, we can get a decent-ish read that he's probably going to just slam more Sledgehammers next round as well. He's kind of just shown intent with those. I mean, he could sell them again right away immediately. Maybe it's like a bait or something, but I think that we're fine with him going into Sledges. Our Stormcallers being online helps us out quite a bit. We now get the unit drop round. Farseer, Sabertooth, Fang, Tarantula. Okay, just going to go ahead and pause this real quick. It looks like we went ahead and picked up the Farseer. Honestly, I'm pretty much fine with this. If we were to go into the Fangs, the level 3 Fangs, our opponent already has Mustangs on the field. He could just give us Mustangs range, and then those Fangs are just kind of feeding. Like, he's already got the counter on board to deal with the Fangs. The Sabertooths could be okay. I noticed that we're not running... Oh yeah, we are running field maintenance on the Sabertooths. Okay, so that's good. Sabertooth could be an option. I think overall I'm pretty happy actually with the Farseer selection, just because we're running a lot of fast-moving chaff, right? A lot of Crawlers. And so it's going to be pretty easy to keep these Farseers safe. I would definitely like to see another Acolyte come down here just now. Okay, lovely. We do also go into the next Acolyte as well. So that's nice, man. The double Farseer drop, it might be a little bit on the risky side. We could have just like fluffed out our chaff here a little bit on this far side, but I guess that's fine to do. Yeah, so far, like, so decent. You know what I'm saying? Our opponent does actually go straight into damage sharing on the Sledgehammers and does drop another pack of Sledges and the Sabertooth as well. And so we can kind of look at what our opponent's doing here right now. And this is another good habit to get into as well, is whenever your opponent places a new unit on the field, just check what tech he's running on that unit. Of course, Sabertooths are renowned for their missile interceptor skill, and just giving you like a quick answer to enemy missiles with the missile interceptor skill. And so not only does he have missile interceptor on the Sabertooth, but he also has it teched in on his Mustangs as well, and has it available and ready to go. That leads me to believe that these Stormcallers' days are numbered in terms of the value they're gonna get. We can leave them on the field, but we certainly shouldn't be buying any techs for these Stormcallers, given that our opponent has the counter ready and available, ready to go. So that's like another consideration that I'm thinking of just now as well. We get the building kill at a good time. Can we get this thing dead? We do. Lovely. So we actually get to hold on, man. Very, very nice. Okay, yeah, so my point is that I feel like we should not be trusting these Stormcallers to get the job done forever against the Sledgehammers. I feel like we should already be thinking about something like man, I don't know, Scorpions to deal with the Sledgehammers if we continue to see those come down. Also, honestly, Phoenixes are just, I mean, I don't think we should go for Elite Phoenix, obviously, but we're actually going to Fortified Acolyte. But yeah, we need some kind of like sniper unit on the field just now. That's going to help us to deal with the heavier units that are likely to start coming down. And would you know it, our opponent actually goes straight into Missile Interceptor on his Mustangs. Quite early for him to do that, to be honest. That's actually a mistake on his part, I'd say. To go into Missile Interceptor on any of your units before the enemy goes into any Stormcaller tech is generally a mistake, unless it's just a lot of Stormcallers on the field, like 4 packs or something. It's usually a mistake because then your opponent can just sell these Stormcallers, which is what I recommend we do right now, right? As soon as we see this on round 4, Cork 6, I hope you're listening, man. I hope that we sell these Stormcallers, man, because they are suddenly now that they're not doing enough to justify their existence anymore. We're much, much better off just getting our money back from these guys and going into another option instead to take care of these Sledgehammers and the Sabertooth. And yeah, Scorpion looks like a very, very good answer right now. Scorpion looks like a great answer. Able to one-shot its way through all of the tanks. It does decently into Mustangs, or at least Mustangs take forever to try and get a Scorpion dead. It'll do pretty well into the Sabertooth as well. It's also quite economical, so that would be my pick for what we can do next round. Alternatively, Farseer's Electromag Explosion, that could also be great. You know, Electromag and just a couple more Farseers, and then a bit more chaff here, just to cover them. That would also be grand. That would be the plays that I'm thinking of going into next round. Right now, just going for more chaff, great. I think that this is fine. I think this is totally fine. The upgrade into the Stormcallers, I mean, it's okay. It's a tiny bit risky because we know how much anti-missile he has available, ready to sort of push the button on. But yeah, I mean, we couldn't have predicted that he was immediately going to go into Missile Interceptor, so I think this is just totally okay. One thing we want to consider here with our Fang units is ideally you want them to be placed either just in front of or like almost in like a vertical pattern, as much as just in front of the Acolytes as you possibly can. And like, oh, okay, we're shuffling them a little bit, that's fine. That's fine. So the reason you want them positioned slightly in front of the Acolytes is because your furthest forward unit is going to attract the attention of all of your units, all of your enemies' units, right? So these Fangs are going to, these Crawlers are going to split in two. Half are going to go for these guys. These guys are going to go here. These guys are going to go here, right? So you want to almost create a funnel with your chaff, right? Have some chaff positioned at the front that is going to pull your enemies' chaff units, in this case like their Crawlers, into a kill zone, right? That's a good way of thinking about it, right? Try and like streamline your opponent's chaff to run to one area where you have a chaff clear unit, like an Arclight or a Vulcan, waiting and ready to rock and roll, and just to clear up the enemy chaff as quickly as possible, you know? Getting the enemy chaff dead as fast as you can and as efficiently as you can is just great. I'd also be a little bit concerned right now as well that our Crawlers and our Fangs are going to stack up for a second here, because the Crawlers are positioned directly behind the Fangs. We can have some Crawlers that run through the Fangs like this, and so if our opponent goes any kind of AoE in future rounds, or like has like a Vulcan here or something, it will kill all of them at the same time. And so it's generally better to try and not have too many straight lines going on with your chaff, is another way that I put it. That's just a way that you can slow your opponent down at getting your boys dead. But okay, man, this round is not going to look so hot, just because the Mustangs are going to do a pretty good job at nullifying the damage of the Stormcallers this round. In fact, you can see down here by the damage numbers, they've only dealt like 10,000 damage this round. Given that they've dealt 50,000 damage over the course of the game, as we can see in the bottom. Yeah, these Stangs are doing a very, very, very good job at shutting these guys down. And it's the same story for the level 2 Stormcallers on this far side as well. Just seeing massive, massive damage limitations on those. So yeah, we definitely want to sell these rank 2 Stormcallers first, and then make one of those switcheroos into something like maybe Electromag Farseers if we want to go that route. Or it's just Scorpions. I think Scorpions would be great. But okay, let's see what we go here, man. Let's see what we go here. Our opponent's getting all kinds of levels as well. Nano Repair Kit comes out. That's something that we've got to be concerned of. Our opponent is getting some very, very tanky, bulky units on the field. He could definitely go into that. And so it's very, very imperative right now that we get something online to take care of his bulky, tanky units. Extended Range Vulcan. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm not sure about Extended Range Vulcan here. Primarily because if we go Vulcan unit, yeah, it'll kill the crawlers that run out towards the front, but anything that arrives super, super late, we risk the Vulcan getting stuck attacking tanks or attacking the Sabertooth and just getting target locked. And then all of the late arrival chaff will just run right past it because the Vulcan's just stuck attacking a tanky unit. I'm not sure that a Vulcan against damage sharing tank sledgehammers is going to be the best answer for us here, to be honest. It's more of a general tip, by the way, Cox6. And I just want to say, huge props, by the way. I didn't mention that at the start of the video, but huge props for sharing this replay and asking for feedback. It's actually quite a brave thing to do. It's a little bit rough, you know? Like, a lot of folks are just scared of getting the feedback because, like, oh, God, like, I don't want to hear all the things I'm doing wrong, man. That doesn't sound like a fun time, you know? And it isn't, you know? It isn't. And I hope that you take all of the advice and tips that I'm giving in this as nicely as you can take them. But what I will say is that in the first, like, 4 rounds, I think you've done a pretty good job overall of sort of building a nice varied army. I'd like to see something like Phoenixes at the back here at this point. You know, maybe like some round 3 Phoenixes if they were to come down. I would have really liked to have seen that. It's just generally a good idea to try and get some kind of marksman or sniper unit on field that can deal with enemy air units and is able to take down things like Sabertooths relatively safely, and also just force your opponent to go into some real anti-air. I think that'll be totally fine. But yeah, in the first 3 or 4 rounds, it's just a good idea to just get your chaff on the field, get a good sniper unit on the field, and plenty of chaff clear. Right now, a bit of a concern that we're having is that, I mean, the Sabertooths, the Farseers are doing a pretty good job of just being like a catch-all unit, right? They can do a little bit of everything, which is great. Concern this round, like we've already said, we need a good answer to these tanky units. Scorpions would be amazing. We're really starting to lack chaff clear. Oh my god. Okay, so we're really starting to lack chaff clear as well. We only have 2 Acolytes that are actually reliably killing off the enemy chaff. And honestly, winning the chaff battle wins you games in Mechabellum. That's it. You know, whoever kills all of the enemy's fangs and crawlers first tends to just win the game from there. Because killing their giant units and their big boys is easy if you still have their big boys hitting your crap. You know, hitting your rubbish units. And protecting things like melting points, which I think are not going to be the best idea for us here. And I'll go into why in just a sec, but first and foremost, yeah, we're starting to lack chaff clear a little bit. We're starting to fall behind a little bit because the Stormcallers, it looks like we're not going to be selling these. We are actually out of money. We could have got some extra cash to play with there and bought an extra Acolyte maybe. Yeah, so we only have 2 Acolytes that are acting as chaff clear, is my point, because the Stormcallers are very, very ineffective for that purpose right now, which is obviously not ideal, so more Acolytes coming down, I think would have been fine. Scorpions coming down would have been much, much better than the melting points. My fear is now that we don't have the chaff clear available to kill all of these small units, all of the crawlers and all of the mustangs at the back, I don't think we have enough chaff clear to get all of these dead, such that the melting points can target what they need to be hitting, which is the sledgehammers and the Sabertooth. That's going to be my prediction going into this round. Now, a Scorpion would definitely fare better in this situation because A, it's cheaper, first of all, which is always great. It's cheaper and more economical, but the Scorpion can also kill off packs of enemies at a time, and so it can actually help out a little bit with killing off things like the Mustangs. Now, I'm not exactly sure that a Scorpion would make all the difference here. Even the melting point did get to latch eventually on the Sabertooth, as it kind of slowly made its way to the front. Just look how many little guys are still left though, man. Lots of Stangs over here just buying a lot of time. Yeah, just a bit of a chaff clear issue. Bit of a chaff clear issue. Okay. Yeah, that's why in the early, the first 3 or 4 rounds, it's usually just a really, really good idea to sort of get... We might actually be able to turn this round around, by the way, right at the end here, but it's just a really, really good idea to just get all of your chaff on the field, 5 or 6 packs of chaff, you know, kind of layered in waves. We actually do get to hold on for this round, which is awesome. But don't be fooled, we still definitely need more chaff clear, by the way. Still definitely need more chaff clear, man. We were able to eke out the win there, which is great. Advanced targeting. Damn, do we actually go into that? No, we're going to Underground Threat. Okay, I don't mind Underground Threat. It's very, 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 very good. against the Mustangs at the front as well. Nice, and we actually did sell... Ooh, we actually did sell off the Stormcallers, but I think that we're going into the wrong chaff clear option here. In terms of Vulcans. They can be fine. They can be fine if they're positioned correctly. And correctly, I mean... By correctly, I mean rather, like, pretty far back. These are extended range Vulcans as well, so we don't have to be so, like, forward-facing with these guys. They could honestly just go, like, here and here. Like, really quite far back. Just to try and clear the way for the melting points to hit more important targets. Right now, I think these Vulcans are actually just going to beeline straight for these guys. As soon as these crawlers are dead, they're going to be hitting these guys over here. Ooh, and we placed the crawler drop on our own backline. Yeah, I don't think that's necessary. Well, like we like this leads me to believe that we were expecting our opponent on red to also go a crawler drop and drop them somewhere on our backline as well, and we're looking to counter that a little bit. But if we just place the Vulcans a little bit further back, then they kind of cover all sides against the crawler drop anyway. The Farseers will do pretty well at countering the crawler drop as well. The Acolytes will actually, they'll also be close enough to probably turn around and help deal with any crawler drops. We're very, very safe against the enemy crawler drop. He is not safe against ours. Like, he is not in a position to defend well against a crawler drop. Like, if we were to place our crawlers right here, obviously he just placed these stone crawlers right now, but it would have been even worse for him. He's literally got like one Acolyte that would turn around. I don't even know if this one would. Like, if we drop it like somewhere in the middle-ish, like all up in here. He might only get like one Acolyte that turns around. I guess maybe the second, so maybe it would be better to place them over here. But even still, like, it's going to be very, very disruptive for his Mustangs, for his chaff. Incidentally, Stormcallers would also get disrupted big time as well. I feel like we could have just went aggressive with this, long story short. But okay, the Vulcans are quite far forwards. Let's see how they do. So I see what you mean, man, Coccyx. You are building counters to what our opponent is doing. To an extent. They're just not the most efficient counters. And I feel like our positioning of units is just a little bit off. And look, here we go, man. Here we go. Yeah, it's going to get stuck hitting the tanks. Same story over here as well. Melting Point is finally going to latch on the Acolyte over here, and that's great. But this Vulcan is now doing nothing to kill off the Stangs at the back, you know. Now just not doing a whole lot. Okay. And now it's stuck hitting the Sabertooth as well. Oh my god, dude. Okay. It's just a little bit unfortunate. Just a little bit unfortunate. So also we see the Electromag Stormcallers come out as well. That's actually fine for us. We have the Farseers online, so we can just push that button next round to give our Farseers missile defense. So we shouldn't be too worried about these guys coming down. Even if our opponent spams these, we can eventually just like sell one of our Giants and buy a Missile Defense War Factory and be totally fine. Totally fine with that. Unit drop round. Ooh, let me go ahead and pause this, man. Let me go ahead and pause this. What options have we got here? So we've got the Typhoons. They're basically useless against Sabertooth's tanks, that kind of thing. Also, the enemy Mustangs are sitting behind the Sledgehammers, so they'd never get to connect on those either. The Fortresses, honestly, could be very, very, very good here. Like, our opponent actually doesn't have any big, like, giant killer units. It's just a lot of medium-sized units. There's, like, one Sabertooth that hits kinda hard. But apart from that, like, as long as we just make sure it's only hitting chaff, then it's not really doing anything to the Fortresses. So I think that for my turn right now, it'd look probably something like Missile Interceptor on the Farseers. It's safe to push that button because our opponent has already invested tech into his Stormies, so we might as well just go ahead and do that. I probably... Dude, would I actually just sell off one of the melting points, man? Would I just sell off one of the melting points? Are they getting enough done? I think I'd probably sell off this melting point. I think I'd just get rid of it. We can also sell off these Stormcallers here as well, if that's a bit too controversial for y'all. We could just sell off that. Fortress, like Fortress, maybe. And then if we have the money, borrow money if we have to be honest, and just get them barrier up and running. That could be an incredible way to go about this. The Sandworm, our opponent's got a lot of chaff and we're struggling to kill it off, so it will probably just take too long. But, yeah. This is a gap that you can look for in your opponent's army, man. If they don't have, this is why it's so important, by the way, to get like marksmen or phoenixes or scorpions or something just big and hard hitting on the ground. Ideally in the first like 4 or 5 rounds of the game. Earlier the better, if you can. It just kind of denies your opponent from walking all over you with a huge giant drop, right? Because if we've got scorpions on the field right now and they can tech into acid, suddenly our opponent looks at these fortresses and goes, yeah, nah, I ain't gonna go to those fortresses, man. It just seems like a bad idea, you know? Yeah, our opponent is lacking the same kind of unit, and so you can just drop a bigger boy if your opponent is just spamming medium units, you know? That is totally an option that you've got, man. Just out big boy the guy. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and speed along and see what Coccyx eventually picks up here. Anything but the Typhoons can be made to work, I guess. I wouldn't like to see the Sandworm either. Steel Balls. We do have a lot of Crawlers. It's possible that we can protect them. Okay, so we do actually go for the Steel Balls in the end, and oh, yo, 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 this isn't happening, is it? This isn't happening, is it? Oh. Dude, okay, we have 1,000 supply left. I'm not gonna imagine that we leave these steel balls here for the time being. Maybe we move them up before the round ends. We're just moving them either side for now. We still have 1,000 supply. We can still go ahead and buy the missile interceptor on these guys, which is great. Oh, hang on. Did we just buy 2 sentry turrets? We did. So we go into range and a couple of sentry turrets. Okay. All right. Range and the melting points will help them survive, but that hasn't really been a problem for us so far. I don't mind it as a tech pickup, but the fact that we went into missile interceptor, like sentry turrets, instead of going into missile interceptor tech on the Farseers is definitely questionable, right? If you just push the button on the Farseers, it actually costs the same amount of money, and then we get that missile defense every round. We don't have to worry about these things dying and stuff like that. Okay. Also, the clock is counting down. We still have a field recovery to use here. I don't think we have time now to sell these off. And these steel balls look like they're going to stick. Oh my god. Okay, and we invested in range right at the very end of the round as well. I guess because we just didn't know what else to spend on at this point. Okay. Alright, alright, alright. So our opponent also went into steel balls as well. That's fine. That's neither here nor there. We'll get to that when we get to it. The positioning of these steel balls. I think that a big issue that you're running into, Coccyx, man, is positioning of units. For the most part, it's fine. For the most part, it's actually okay. But we just bought more crawlers here as well. So we could have put some like crawlers here, maybe. And some crawlers here. And then have the steel balls here. But right now, as it stands, you got to consider things like the speed of your units and the range of your units to kind of imagine where the units are actually going to clash and what units they're going to be hitting first belonging to your enemy, right? Right now, our opponent has some crawlers behind the tower right here with 16 meters per second move speed, and it's very, very good idea to kind of measure the movement speed of units and get an idea of which unit is going to make it to the fight first. For our opponent, it's his crawlers. For us, it's these steel balls. So our steel balls are going to rush in and they're going to get stuck hitting crawlers, which is like the lowest value target that a steel ball could possibly hope to hit. And even with their range, I'm pretty sure that they're just going to die. Because it's just going to take too long for our crawlers to sort of catch up. We really need crawlers in front of the steel balls if you're going to position them like this and in this way. And even then, it's not super optimal in this situation, but as it happens right now, the steel balls are just too far forwards. They really had to be all the way back here, like just in front of the Farseers. That could have worked just grand, but as it stands right now, they are our first unit to go into combat. They're trading into crawlers, and now as they're standing still, they're also going to get clipped up by the stormcallers as well. So you just got to really think about that, right? That's an easy way to start sort of mapping out in your head how each of the unit trades are going to go down along the map, is just consider which unit from your opponent is going to make it into the combat first, and which of your units is going to make it into the fight first as well, and just see if you can get a positive trade set up. Then think about like the second wave that's going to meet, then the third wave, and go from there, you know. But it all starts with the first trade going decently well for you, which unfortunately for us, yeah, those steel balls, they should also be sold. by the way. Oh, we did also lose our little sentry turret down here as well. Hopefully we don't lose this one too. Looks like we won't. Okay. Alright. Okay, man. So we're getting to the point now where it feels like we're about a round and a half behind our opponent. None of these are looking that great for us, to be honest. We go for the advanced shield, which, I mean, it's fine. It's fairly cheap to do. We actually borrow money here, so I'm quite interested to see what we're going to do this round. We go into crawler production on the melting points. Okay. It's only 2 melting points that are actually producing crawlers. Which isn't the grandest. We're not producing all that many overall, is what I mean to say. So funnily enough, I actually think that the same play could work this round as last round, pretty much. We can use the cell. We can sell off the Stormcallers right here. We can still go into some Missile Interceptor on the Fascias. Even get some levels on the Fascias, maybe, so they can do a little bit of something. And then just like crawlers here and crawlers here. Just something to get the steel balls in, because I mean we've invested in the steel balls now, you know. We went into range on these suckers, and so we can't realistically sell them off without it being basically like a concession of defeat at that point, you know, because it's just like 300 supply down the drain. Okay, we're going to the Scorching Flames in the Vulcan. Crawlers, where are these guys gonna go? No, dude. Not like this. Where did the other ones go, man? Oh, we're just going to stagger them like this. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so these steel balls are just going to die again, man. They're just going to die again. And to be fair, it's kind of like a bit of a self-inflicted problem here. The real fix to this is just having the steel balls on the back line or just behind these crawlers here would also just be totally fine for us. Yeah. Yeah, that's it, really. I also don't think that at this point, the Scorching Fire in the Vulcans is just not really going to be enough to burn our way through sledgehammers that are now also healing and damage sharing and rank 2. These guys are still going to get target locked, you know? And okay, man, we have very, very limited missile defense this time. Our opponent actually doubled down on the Stormcallers, which he might not have done if we went into Missile Interceptor on these guys. But once again, the poo-poo steel balls just getting a little bit sacrificed, to be honest, at the front, which is especially bad because they're rank 3 and they're just giving away so much experience. Yeah. Yeah, so it feels like we're just a turn or 2 behind at this point. Just little micro inefficiencies, positioning mishaps, unit selection issues. The crawler production on the melting points is buying us a little bit more time here for the melting points to connect on important targets, but look at this. Still, when it gets to the Mustangs coming in, they just get stuck attacking Mustangs. And then there's nothing to stop the Stormcallers from winning. So, like, the Mustangs are basically glorified chaff in this situation, by the way. They're not being used for damage or range or anti-air. They're just missile defense and late arrival chaff, really. Like, if I were red, I wouldn't have even put levels into these Mustangs because it just risks feeding more experience to your opponent, but okay, the tides are well and truly turning, and honestly, as we get into this last round, we're going to see how it ends, but I'm not sure that this is salvageable at this point. Incendiary Bomb is something we definitely should have went for here. 100%. I feel like the requirement to go into battlefield spells, like the Lightning Storm or Incendiary Bomb or whatever, increases the further behind you are. And so we could totally have went Incendiary Bomb here, and also bought the Sticky Oil Bomb from the research center right here, and like bomb, like got them Incendiary Bomb, Sticky Oil Bomb, set it all on fire, put one pack of like crawlers or fangs right at the front, so we pull all of our opponent's units into the fire and the flames. That could be a way that we at least swing one round back in our favor. In fact, I wonder if that would just work to win the game, because we have like 4 giant units. We could do a lot of damage here by just going for just the high risk Incendiary Bomb, Sticky Oil Bomb play, and then 1 pack of chaff here to aggro everything. Maybe we'll go ahead and try that. I might actually replay a couple of rounds in this game and see if things could have been manipulated or rescued at certain times. Ooh, we actually went ahead and ended up selling on the steel balls over here, man. So we kind of concede defeat, and once again, oh god. Oh, yeah, I don't know about all this. So we just go for like a crap load of crawlers now, but we sell the steel balls, which is like the main unit that the crawlers are trying to protect. I feel like it would have been better just to sell the Stormcallers here, you know. The Stormcallers have been doing nothing for like 5 rounds, by the way. That's what I say. I think on like round 3, they had about 40,000, 50,000 damage. They now only have 70,000 damage after 8 rounds, which puts into perspective how little the Stormcallers have been doing. But okay, man. I can only imagine that this is the end. Our crawlers are all gone already, and now it's just giants getting stuck attacking the big boys. Okay, man. Did we go Electromag on something here? Huh. I thought we were Electromagging something for a second, but... Oh, yeah, okay, it was the melting points actually going to Electromag Barrage, which in this case is actually not good. Electromag Barrage and the melting points against damage sharing tanks. What it does is that it unlinks the tanks from their damage sharing, which makes it so that the melting points are suddenly only killing the tanks one at a time. Like right here, for example, disables the damage sharing, so now that melting point is just killing tanks one at a time, if that makes sense, you know? If you're against damage sharing anything, you generally don't want to be electromagging them with the melting point. But okay. That is going to be the final round over. No, man. Let's take a look at the old round 6. I think that this is honestly, this could have been the big old swing round, just seeing the gap in our opponent's composition for taking down giant units. And so I'm going to go ahead and take control of the replay in this round and see what we can do here if we went for the fortress drop option instead. We're also going to go ahead and sell off these nerds because frankly they are completely useless to us. And we're just going to use fortresses as just our big boy option to take care of these nerds and take care of these tanks. We're also going to not waste any time and go into Missile Interceptor on the Fast Seers. God, do we just borrow money for this round? I think we probably do. I think I actually recommended that we probably do that just to facilitate the swing round while I was actually casting the game. So let's go ahead and do that, man. We get an extra Fast Seer down here just to protect the big blue. And then on this side, just go like here, maybe? Something like this. And the idea here is that our opponent just doesn't have any units that are particularly specialized at killing giants, let alone big level 2 giants with huge barriers that also scale with level. We just have bigger boys, that's it. And it's going to be these fortresses that are responsible as well for killing off the tanks. The only real threat for these guys is going to be the Sabertooth, to be honest. We could also go ahead and upgrade here. Oh, we actually can't afford to upgrade here. What am I even chatting about? So instead, I guess we just probably go into range. And let's just see how this does, man. So as we know, our opponent upgraded his tanks by quite a bit. The damage and field maintenance, damage sharing field maintenance combo also came out this round as well. Did he go more Stormcallers? He didn't. Oh yeah, our opponent also went into the Steel Balls as well, right? So let's see, which by the way, the fortresses are also going to do a very good job at just killing off the Steel Balls too. Again, it's just a good general rule that if your opponent goes into just a lot of units that are kind of medium, like medium-sized units, just going a lot of fortresses can absolutely clap cheeks. Giants in general, they're just bigger guys, right? War factories can also work out pretty saucy too. So we're going to lose the level 1 factory on the far right side, and we're not actually going to get to latch on the Sabertooth over here. But on the left side, we actually hold pretty goddamn fast indeed, which is quite juicy, man. Now, I don't know if we actually have the power to fully turn this around. We're going to get the building dead. Does that facilitate killing the Sabertooth? It does. Okay. And as such, just going into that missile defense with the Fast Seers fortress, looks like we're going to be able to clap enough cheeks here that we actually could have turned the game on that round. And now we're in an incredible spot after a round like that to just double drop more fortresses if needs be, and then also start to do things like mass recruit more crawlers to go here and blah blah, you know, and start to take care of business from that point as well. So yeah, I think that was really the key round in this game where we could have swung things back in our favor. All right, man. Anyways, thanks for watching, boys. I hope that some of these tips or some things that we covered in this video were helpful to some of y'all folks, especially Coxix, if you are watching. Big props for submitting this replay, man, and subjecting yourself to all of this huge barrage of feedback, and yeah, I hope it was helpful, man. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to hit like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already to catch more videos like this one, as well as all of the meme builds and stuff that we cover. And if you've got a replay that you want me to check out on this channel, make sure to post it in the official Mechabellum Discord in the Share Your Replay channel, which, as always, that Discord is linked down below in the pinned comment. All right, thanks again, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your night, and we're going to catch all of y'all just a 10 bit later, man.